And welcome everyone to the Man Cave. I am Paul Knapp, and I will be your host for this evening's show. Tonight is episode number 31, and waiting in the green room is our special guest for tonight, Mr. Tearle Ashby. Tearle Ashby is the owner and operator of Wetsuit Man, where he makes repo latex wetsuits for G.I. Joe, and has been an avid G.I. Joe collector since 1991, where he collects mostly 1964 through 1974 Joes. As always, I'd like to give a few channel plugs before we get started tonight. Dr. Toys Custom Toys, check them out. And Anything Joe's. As always, I want to thank some of my new subscribers and all my subscribers, but three of my newest ones are Graham Hurst, Eric Woody, and Blaster Jones. Next week, our special guests, some guy named, it's hard to read this, Greg Brown. He's from Texas. I don't know much about this guy. I'm gonna have to do some research. But his name is Greg Brown. He's been begging to get on the show for weeks now, and I said, why not? I don't know much about him, but I'm sure we can find out some stuff about him. Now I'm going to introduce our panel for tonight, starting off with another person from Texas right here. If it has anything to do with drinking pina coladas and getting caught in the rain, this guy's all over it. This is Mr. Jim Egner.
Yay.
Yay.
Okay.
Back to my introductions, Jim. So,
man,
if you want to hang up now, you can. I understand. I totally understand. We'll get right back to you. I got to move down to this gentleman right here. Got one for you, too. This man used to eat the yellow snow in the wintertime, and that's how his parents found out he was colorblind. This is Mike Lewinsky, as we like to call him, Medic Mike.
Cheers.
There you go.
Is this the yellow snow?
That's the yellow snow, yes. You're a colorblind, and that is the yellow snow.
Oh, man.
And we're heading up to New York here for this gentleman here. Don't be surprised if this man is naked by the end of the show, because he is the president of the National Nudist Organization. This is Angelo D'Annabelle.
Yeah.
Those were terrible.
Gentlemen, welcome. I am
Okay.
back. I am back.
Yep.
I am back.
Waited for those. Definitely
It'll
waited
be
for
about
those.
3 weeks to get back into the mode, but I'm in the mode now, guys.
All right.
And Jim's like, "Fuck." I mean, you know what that means? We got a quiz tonight. We got another quiz tonight
Yes.
for you.
Oh,
Jim.
crap.
It's been like
All right.
3 weeks with no game show. So,
I've been
Jim, I'm going to
studying.
start off with you. Tell us what's new in your zoo, brother.
Well, a few of y'all know Robert DeCastro. He just recently got I believe it was a prototype Humvee and tan from Hong Kong. I believe that's the right thing. And he sent me a couple of broken plastic parts. You can kind of see the cracks and whatnot in this. And so he sent a couple of those that were all busted up in transit and asked if I could redo them. And so that's kind of what I've been working on, is reworking his parts. And it goes on this huge wheel. Isn't that strange? So this thing goes on here kind of like so. And I don't know exactly how that's supposed to work, but it's supposed to be some sort of an axle. So that's really kind of the cool thing that I've been working on, is trying to get that up and running. The shop got taken offline there for about 24 hours. So I'm trying to figure out why they hated on me. But anyway, I'm back. I'm glad to be. Still dealing with some family drama with my father-in-law, but hopefully we'll get past that here pretty soon. Just trying to catch up. That's really kind of what I've been working on. So,
Right on. Moving down to this gentleman here. What's new in your zoo, Mr. Medic Mike?
Oh, pretty much a lot of the same as last time. Work's been crazy. Unloading in the rain and the mud is no fun. As far as Joe's stuff goes, well, let's see here. I've been doing a lot of these things here. We can all see that, right? Yeah. Lots of flocking. I've got a couple of projects for Pawtucket platoon going on as well, and I'm trying to fit all that stuff in as timely a fashion as I can, along with everything else. MSV video still on hold. I've made a couple of segments. I'm going to wind up having to do it 5 minutes at a time and kind of mushing them all together. And that's pretty much about it for me.
You've been working on that MSV for a month now, man.
A little more than that. When the idea struck me that should be the next video, but then I've had, okay, hey, can you do a video on this? Can you do a video on that? So accommodated people that way too. It's always slow and always sure, but it's also always a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep. We got a lot of people chiming in tonight. Can you guys see the chats on the right on your channel?
We can.
Yep.
Yeah, I cannot for some reason.
Well, I'm popping up ones individually now. As I said last week, I can't put them all up. We got in trouble that way. Angelo, what's new in the great state of New York?
Well, what's new? Well, school is finally in full swing. You know, this week is our first week back as a full week, so that's been keeping me pretty busy. I ended up going in Saturday, spending most of the day there to try to get all my plans set. But as far as Joe stuff goes, flocking, like Mike says, I'm flocking like a madman here too. Been trying to get a couple shorts going on. I don't know, some of you saw that cool little hovercraft type thing that I had one of my figures on.
Yep.
I finally figured out where it was from. It's from a Dragon Ball Z little action figure. And what I ended up doing is I extended the handlebars. I put a post on it so that Joe could actually stand on it. So that one, I don't know why my wife's like, why does that one have so many views? That one, like within 8 hours, had like 350 views. And for me, that's a lot. So I was really impressed that little craft got so much attention. Maybe it was the music that went along with it, because I know Paul's been rocking out with all these shorts with really cool music, and I think that might be the key. Other than that, I've been doing my my box set for the Bigfoot box set is done and complete. I only made 3 of them, so I've sold 2 already. I got 1 left that I'm putting together and seeing if anyone wants it that's out there. And then I'm always playing around with different things, and I'm going to hold this up and see if you can see it. It looks like a claw, if you see the front.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And it actually comes off. And I put a chain on it in the back so it can extend.
Yeah. And
then you can actually wheel it back up. So this wheel in the back is from a robotics, ROBOTIX set that I had. And then this arm, I got it from Monkey Depot, and I have no idea what it goes to, but I have 2 of them. One I think I might put on a figure. The other one I think I'm going to put on a vehicle so that you can actually drop it down and pick things up from a lower area. So
it looks like it'd be a cool thing, for cool attachment for Mike Power's arm.
Yeah, no.
Yep, that too. Yeah, so those are my things. My brain's always going somewhere. So I think it's from teaching all these kids. If I don't do something like this, I'll go totally mad. So you know, some of those guys know. So that's it so far.
Well, we got some of the AOA guys in the room. We got Adam with us. We got Peter. Peter chimed in. Nice to see you guys. Big Boss Jack, as always, is with us. Eddie Burton. Haven't had Eddie on Monday nights for a while. Nice to have you, Eddie.
Yeah, Eddie's always there to comment on every single thing that I post on YouTube. He's like the first one, and he's always very kind. So that's great.
Tim's with us from Washington State.
Tim, Big Boss Jack, thank you. Yeah, those guys are always on.
Tell you what, we got a room full tonight. Mr. Largo's here. He just got off of his live stream and jumped over to our live stream.
Very nice.
So
that's awesome.
Cool. Mr. Largo, I know you got the URL to jump in if you saved it from when I sent it to you. I just learned tonight that from Jim Egner that once I send you guys that URL, I don't have to send it each time. It's the same one. So the one I sent you tonight will be the one, unless I change my station or something like that, you know?
It's always the same? I didn't realize
I thought it always changed, but apparently,
good to know.
You know, when I got on tonight, Jim was already on before me. I was like, how the hell did you get here? I didn't even send it out. I didn't even send it out yet. He's like creeping on me.
Oh, Howard's
he said it's the same link every time. I was like, well, shit, then I don't have to, you know, Jeff and Adam and Pat and anybody that wants to chime in, you know, if they, you know, they got the old link, they just click it on. So,
yep, just bring up your history.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, well, we got a guest in the green room, and if he's still there and didn't leave us yet after my introductions, I got an introduction for him too. So,
oh boy,
all right,
I guess we can bring this guy in now. This man says you don't need to be the sharpest tool in the shed when you're a sledgehammer, bitches. This is Tearle Ashby.
Oh my God, that's
Yep.
It's his first live stream, and he gets hit with that right away.
Well, welcome to the show, brother.
Yeah. We were talking earlier. Angelo and I live probably, well, with me driving about 5 minutes. And we're coming up on like 30 years, if it isn't already. 30 years to each other. So,
No
I
doubt.
rock, you know. I was a
Great
little
to have you
nervous.
on, brother.
When I heard the initial introduction, I thought,
Yeah, that's bad, wasn't it?
You're not in the same nudist colony as him. Is that a different county?
there's no light of any kind in the
No,
news.
Tearle's
Right.
colony is put more clothes on colony. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to finally get you on the show, brother.
Yeah, that's
An honor
great.
and a privilege. I don't know if you remember, but I met you last year at Hershey for the first
Yep.
time, and then again this year at Kentuckiana. Ran into each other, and I did buy the Kentuckiana special wetsuit from you. So hopefully you can talk about some of them wetsuits tonight,
Definitely.
and definitely talk
Oh,
about
yes.
your show this weekend if you would.
Definitely.
My
Man,
first question to you is, how did you get involved with making those wetsuits?
Well, a buddy of mine was doing shows. He did some of the not the first shows, but when there was the resurgence around the 30th anniversary, he Mike Hers and Bruce Zalkin did the Intrepid show, and then they did Chicago. They did the Space Coast in '96. And then Michael did a Philly show in '97, and then Brian Savage took over from that point. So I became pretty tight with him, and I would go work, for him at the shows. And he did some reissues of the vinyl lockers. And when he went to do the Aqua Locker, he got a hold of a set of original wetsuit molds and made forms from the wetsuit molds. So he had about 8 sets, and then when he left, he left the show business. He was doing the FX show in Florida, which was really cool, very huge show, more of a general, comics, everything kind of show. But when he left that, he just kind of like unloaded all his stuff. I bought his collection, and in it were 8 sets of forms. So they sat around in my basement for quite a long time, and then I started to notice the natural decline, as many of us have, of our wetsuits. So I thought, hey, you know what? I'll make some wetsuits, to replace the ones that, dried up and
Sure.
flaked off. How hard could it be,
I don't know. Tell us.
It's very difficult, And the reason why I followed it through wasn't necessarily because I planned on selling wetsuits. I was just so pissed at the process that I'm like, I'm going to figure this out, And I finally did. And, they've been pretty successful. They're, you really can't, material-wise, you can't tell the difference, even though the latex that I use is a blend. But it extends the life. And what I learned about the original suits were that they used metal molds, and they would dip them into the latex, and then they would vulcanize the rubber. They would shoot current through the metal mold, vulcanize the rubber, which initially makes the rubber strong, like bull. And then over time, it deteriorates. So
Oh, I didn't know all that.
that's one of the differences. So so the latex I use is blend. I also make the suits a little bit thinner so you can actually pose the Frogman. And actually put him on the sea sled and have him, stay attached to it.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
but I have not made a single wetsuit for myself yet. They've been much more successful than I thought. And I think at last count, I've sold 928 wetsuits.
Wow.
Wow.
When did you start doing that again?
About 4 years ago.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So it's a pretty involved process. It takes about 32 hours to make a batch. And then I send them out to a seamstress to put the zippers on. They don't make the exact size as they used to. So the zipper's slightly bigger, but it's a YKK zipper. So it's the same brand of zipper. So it's pretty darn close. It's not, out of scale like the old Hall of Fame, the pistols.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1/4 scale pistols for the one scale.
How many's in a batch? You say you make a batch?
I do 10 at a time.
10.
Yeah.
Hey, Tearle, do you have a YouTube? Do you have a YouTube channel?
I don't. I haven't expanded that far yet. I just have my my Wetsuit Man website.
Yeah. The
And
only reason
go ahead.
I was thinking, how without giving away a lot of the things of how you go ahead and do the process with the wetsuits, I think it would be so cool because you spray it on, right?
Right.
To have like just a little, video footage of you actually going through that process so people could see how in
That would be cool to see.
With your mask on and, just to have, I think people would be like really like, wow, that's a serious process to go through to get those wetsuits.
Actually, I have the video because I did that thing at Joe Lanta, but I don't think they remembered about the panel things because they didn't have any technology. So there wasn't any way to. I was showing it on my little, my 15-inch laptop. It was like, all right. But I did shoot video for that. So yeah, that I could do that.
Yeah, definitely get that. Try, think about something like that for the near future and post that. I definitely people would be interested in seeing that.
Well, I learned a lot about, the latex. I mean, I understand why there aren't really any other people making them because it's a huge learning curve. I mean, I can't tell you how many sets of clothes are covered in latex.
I don't doubt it.
Oh man! So I went through the whole, every possible way to make the wetsuits, and then when I finally discovered spraying, you don't get, there's two types of bubbles that you get. You get the just regular air bubbles, which you can just kind of go through and pop them, and then when you do the next coat, it covers it up. But the fisheye bubbles, and you get those in resin too. That creates havoc. It creates like pock marks, and it's I haven't found a way yet to avoid all of them, but I kind of have like quality control. If it's displayable, like if there's a couple pock marks on the back of the suit or maybe one on the front that you can't really see and it's displayable, then that kind of passes. But I have a box full of factory seconds and thirds, So it was definitely a learning process, but each color of the latex is different in terms of how volatile it is. The yellow ones, ironically, they look the worst. The old ones, they look the worst. It's the yellow latex is different than all the other colors. And then, so I make the black 3-piece. I make the orange with the black zipper 3-piece, the orange with the yellow 8 Adventure Team 3-piece, and there was a transitional between 69 and 70 where they did an orange zipper. So I make those as well, and then I do the yellow tops for the Hidden Missile Adventure Team set. And there's a debate about the Jaws of Death wetsuit color, and I actually, I collect to 74. I had to draw a line. It seems silly because you say you draw a line in the sand with the Joe collecting, and people are like, yeah, okay. But I actually had a Jaws of Death suit in my hand that was like right out of the box, and it was mint, and it was much closer to tan than a gray. And I think it's very hard to get a reference because I've never seen a mint suit in a box. Usually what you see, it's more of a putty color. So and there's this whole debate. Like I ended up in a conversation with a guy who like messaged me to death. And I'm like, as far as I know, I'm going to go with tan, and then he went on Facebook and he's like, well, Tearle Ashby says it's tan, which sparked,
Careful, he might be watching right now.
No, I killed him.
And that'll wrap up our show for today.
Yeah, listen, no court in the world would convict me. So I do a tan and I do a gray. If you look in the salesman catalog, it's actually a gray suit. And I've done custom colors like 3 years ago, I did a set for the Dallas Fort Worth Club show, and it was an original underwater demolition diver, which was the initial Frogmen, and it was an OD green. So
Really?
I'm going to be doing some custom.
That would look cool.
Oh, it's very cool, and there's more coming, brother. Because I have so much of that latex. There's actually 2 of the oldest. I guess they were UDT divers, and then they evolved into SEALs.
Yeah,
right. That's right.
The 2 oldest UDT divers recently passed, so I think about doing tribute sets to them. And then I've done some custom colored sets for our suits for some of my stuff. So
this gentleman wants to know if I've heard of the Kentuckiana Winter Show. I did just this year when I was there. Is that one that you attend, Tearle?
I haven't done that one yet. It's in January, which is kind of a, it's not during a time when I work in a school like Angelo, so we're kind of stuck to a schedule.
Sure.
And traveling has become such a nightmare that you don't have a lot of leeway. They really frown on you missing days, when you're not on vacation. So I would like to do the Winterfest. I've heard it's really good. It's the they're at the new venue now.
Yeah.
And when they were at the old, the Hilton Garden Inn near the airport, they just did the one room, the big room for the Winterfest. But from what I understand, it's a great kind of mini version of Kentuckiana.
Okay.
A lot of the same vendors, but there's a lot of vendors that don't do Kentuckiana in July that do Winterfest. So,
Tearle, I got 2 for you. Did you bring any of the wetsuits up from down in the workshop to showcase?
Down from the depths?
Yeah.
I did not. But
You did that. And 2, when you're talking about the latex and applying the different layers and whatnot, have you ever mixed the colors to try to get a camo pattern or to try to get like a different type of watermark pattern on the latex?
I was going to try and do for the Kentucky set, I was going to try and do a yellow stripe down the side, and I just couldn't get it to work. But I have camo in the works. I think I figured out how to do a camo suit.
That would be cool.
That sounds neat.
Like an aqua, like a water blue with the different colors of blue.
Yeah.
So it looks and blends with the water. If you were a diver and you wanted to blend in, I just thought that would be a pretty neat color scheme.
Well, I also saw somebody mentioned Johnny Quest, which is like one of my favorite things.
The Lizard Man suits.
Yeah.
I put together. So there's 3 forms. There's the pants, the top, and then the hood. So I assembled a one-piece form. So it'll have a closed zipper in the back, and so my reasoning for doing that was to do hopefully in the not so distant future do the Lizard Man.
It's going to be great.
I got some other. Jim and I have actually talked about some Quest ideas. My goal is to do the robot spy set.
Ooh.
With the Parapower Ray, and to do to offer all 4 characters painted head, so that's in the
Jim,
works.
you never told us about that.
I don't tell you very much to it.
Jim's got a couple top secret things going on that he's not allowed to share.
Yeah, I can't say much.
I found out about the floating mine when I bought that set from him at Kentuckiana.
Actually, I found that file. I found the file, and I go, "Hey Jim, I found this file for this mine," and he had to do a lot of. It wasn't 1/6 scales. I mean, he had to do a lot of his magic to make it work. But with the redesign and everything, that thing is one of the coolest.
I bought 3 more to go with the set, man. That was really cool. So.
Yeah.
All right, you got to give me 13 seconds because I got to go grab something that I want to show Tearle.
All right.
Can I?
Oh,
yeah.
If you look, you probably can't see it, Angelo, on top of my cases. I bought a canoe. I found a canoe after I saw your.
Oh, did you find a canoe?
I did.
A big one?
Yeah, it's like 28 inches long.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So Tara, what conventions do you attend? You do the Joe Lanta, you do the Kentuckiana?
I do Joanna, Kentuckiana. I'm thinking of doing Toylanta in March. Those are the big ones.
Okay. I mean, there's no more Hershey show, right?
Well, actually, you can talk to Greg about this next week. When I was talking with him in Joanna, and there's a possibility that he might bring back Hershey.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah, great. And John Cozen, who COVID just kicked the daylights out of John Cozen. He's a wonderful guy. He's from Connecticut. He used to go to all the Joe conventions, Big John, and he's on the mend, and he's gonna try and do his Connecticut show again. And it's in North Haven, Connecticut, and it's not a real big show, but it's got a lot of cool stuff, and it's a blast. So
Eddie Burt wants to know if you have a Instagram handle he could hook up to you.
No? I hope to. I'm probably gonna have to get my kids to help me with that stuff because I'm like,
absolutely, man.
I'm like social media illiterate. I'm on the old person's Facebook page. Like if I put that up in school,
we got you on here tonight, so you'll be famous after this. You know that, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is
Oh yeah.
how it works. All right, here you go. Look, Tara.
Oh, dude, that is slick.
Oh, hey, that's cool.
That is cool.
And they articulate a little bit, moving up and down. Now,
And what-
obviously, it's not the same size.
No,
as
where'd
the-
you find that?
Well, haha. Replay Toys?
Yeah.
It was sitting there, and I walked by the Star Wars section, and I
Oh.
saw this, and I said, "Dude, this is perfect."
That's Bomar Monk, I think. There's a
Star Wars.
spider droid.
yes,
Spider
it's a
Droid.
spider
Yeah.
droid. That's exactly what it is.
Oh my
Well-
god, that's awesome.
But I thought the size, it's small, but I thought the size was pretty good to do something like it. So I was going to do a quick little short with, my version of Dr. Quest with the Adventure Team guys taking a look at this contraption to see what they found.
So
embedded in-
scale-wise, that would probably
Cool.
be like either the little dudes or the
Yeah, because if you look,
classifieds.
I mean, if you compare it to Joe, you can
Yeah.
see how much smaller it obviously is.
Yeah, if
Yeah.
I'm able to do that set, man, the spider's going to be huge.
Yeah, oh yeah, would have to be. Oh, and Tearle, this is an Okinawa guy I just got. Someone found it. He's got a little tiny little blemish on his hair.
Yeah.
But really great condition in pants and jacket, Okinawa.
Oh, that's sweet.
And he's got the chubby fingers that still have some of the plastic in between them.
Oh, that's cool.
Sweet.
Yep.
Did you guys see that post from Aaron? Thanks for joining us, Aaron. He said Kentuckiana, the January one is the 27th.
All right.
If anybody can make that.
So Big Boss Jack said, I saw a custom 16M1A1. That's probably the one I have. I met the guy who made it. He said it took him 8 years.
Oh, really?
And I said,
Good gracious.
I'm guessing
Wow.
you weren't in a relationship, were you? And he's like, no.
Yeah, the 21st ones were like a 1/8 or 1/9 scale.
Yeah.
I think I have 3 or 4. They're the radio control ones. 2 I totally took apart to make other things out of them, and 1 I still have intact. You couldn't put a figure in it or anything, but there definitely were a cool monster of a vehicle, and it was, like I said, doesn't compare to the one Tearle had, which was true to scale.
It's awesome stuff, man.
You're talking about the Sherman tank or the M1?
The M1. It was.
Okay.
It was
the M1 that it was 1/9, I think.
yeah,
Yeah.
1/9.
Cool.
You guys got any questions for Tearle? Jim?
Oh, you know me. I always got questions. I got to keep my mouth shut over here. Tearle and I have worked on a couple of projects over the years. Let me ask you a question, Tearle. This is a question, that you kind of alluded to, I think, once upon a time in a phone call. How long does your latex version of the suits last? The original latex, like you say, were vulcanized, and then over just, 40 years or less, they turned to, brittle nastiness. You've been making them for 4 years. What do you think? You know, do you have any sense on the longevity of it? And one of the reasons I ask is back in the 90s when you couldn't get the wetsuits anymore, there was a bunch out of, I think it was Brazil.
Venezuela.
Yeah, and I have one of those, and I've taken it. It's been out of the lights, been out of the air. It's been dusted with the talcum powder and all that kind of stuff, and it's falling apart now. So that's,
Wow.
you know, that one's from, probably 94, 95, somewhere in through there. And so I looked at it the other day. I'm like, dang it, this one's even starting to fall apart. So what are your thoughts on that?
I bought an original suit, 3-piece suit, at Jolana in 2014. And the guy I bought it from, you know, was in the service, and he worked with, you know, UDT divers. And he met some old UDT divers because back in the day, their suits were made of latex.
Mm-hmm.
And what they used to keep their suits soft were they used saddle soap.
Okay.
The whole thing with the powder, I mean, I guess I have mixed feelings about that. You know, the powder, my understanding was that the powder is to help get the suit on easier, not to preserve it. Because if you think about powder, you know, you use powder to make things dry, to take out moisture.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Conceptually, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
As far as my suits go, I have a buddy in Arizona bought the very first suit that I made, and he lives probably in the driest part of the country. It's been displayed for 4 years, not in a case, in the light, and it's still the same as it was.
Well, that's good to hear. I'm sure folks love your suits. I know I do. Glad to hear that we feel like we can have them for years to come. You know, that's unfortunate that the original suits decayed like that.
Yeah, well, the one that I bought in 2014, it's still, even when you saddle soap it, like once a year, twice a year, you know, just kind of saddle soap the outside.
Yeah.
Because he slathered the guy on the inside the suit. And it was a first issue Joe, so his head's kind of swimming in the hood, you know. But it's still soft, but it shrinks, you know, so it's very form fitting at this point.
Okay.
But it's still very soft, you know. So I'm not sure if you're even going to have to go to that extent because it's a blend. It's a latex blend.
So it's got some sort of synthetic in there to keep it from deteriorating?
Yeah. Okay. So
Mike,
far,
any question?
4 years.
What's that?
You got any questions, Mike?
Yeah, actually I do. When you're making these suits, Tearle, you spray them on, right?
Yeah.
To the form. What kind of equipment do you use to do that? Is it just like an ordinary airbrush gun, or do you have to use something different?
It's more like an industrial paint sprayer.
Okay.
Because it's thick. If you went to use like you know, just kind of a you know, one of the, you know, just kind of minor sprayers, even if it's a paint sprayer, you know, the latex is still pretty thick.
Okay.
It would clog up pretty easily. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's why I asked. I was just wondering if that could be done through a paint gun. When you mix those colors, what kind of dye is used? What's it made out of?
I have a company that I found this company that I get my latex from, and they'll make me any color I want.
Oh, okay. So
okay.
you don't know how they do it though.
I do a little bit because when I was trying to get the deteriorating putty color for the Jaws of Death suit, they sent me some dye, and so you mix it in. You know, really doesn't add anything to the latex. It's just dye. So it's pretty innocuous in terms of changing, you know, like the viscosity of the latex or changing, you know, the compound in any way. But yeah, I just call Susie, who makes, you know, she mixes up, and they make it. You know, they don't have it in stock. I say, you know, I usually buy, you know, anywhere from 4 to 12 gallons of latex at a time.
Okay. That brings up another question. So how many suits can you get out of that much latex?
Let's see. So a run of 10 takes about 1.5 gallons.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
You know, and that, you know, that was a trial and error process too, you know, because you got to have your sprayer, you know, getting the right mode on the sprayer, the speed of the sprayer, because it's an air sprayer, so you want to minimize the amount of air that it has to push the latex out, because then you're apt to get bubbles. And
you mentioned that issue before. Yeah.
yeah,
I'm just really interested in the process. I've never seen anybody do something like this before.
Right.
neither have I.
You're about the only one that does. Yeah.
I'll
Do you
tell
have
you,
different-
at the very
do you have
beginning,
different guns?
I had freaking latex everywhere, even when I was spraying. I was like, and you know what? It goes in the air. Like I was doing
So
laundry.
you gotta wear a respirator then too, eh?
Oh, definitely have to wear a respirator.
Okay.
Toxic stuff.
I was going to ask you because Jim had talked about with his vacuum forming that he can't do that anymore with his lungs. Is it the same aerosol kind of atmosphere around that when you're spraying?
It's probably similar to like the resin.
Yeah,
Jim
I mean,
and
if you're not wearing, you got to wear a respirator, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta wear a respirator.
Yeah.
Because you get, I'll walk by something, it'll be 20 feet across the room, and there'll be
You'll see stuff on it.
on it.
Really? Yeah.
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 Wow.
Just like flock gets everywhere no matter what you do.
Yeah.
Blow my nose in the morning and I'm blowing out little chunks of flock.
Yeah, I don't want to be the
Yeah, you know about that, Ange, don't you?
Yes, I do.
I don't want to be the originator of latex lung.
Yeah.
Latex lung.
We'll be studying you in 20 years.
Yeah, really,
exactly.
exactly.
Saying, you know what?
You
Not
got
that
vacuum form
popcorn
lung and latex lung. Now.
Yeah. So,
Can't
Tearle, do
breathe.
you have separate paint guns for each one, or latex guns for each one? Like this one's only going to be for yellow, this one's only going to be for black. Do you have a whole series of different ones, or do you change out and clean out the containers and put new latex in?
I have a container for each color.
Okay. And you just got to keep cleaning
And
out.
I have two different. So, like, once you do the first coat is a little bit thinner than the following coats, because you got to make sure that it goes on smooth, and you got to minimize, getting any fisheye bubbles on the first coat, especially because when they come off the form, they come off inside out. So it's that first layer is probably the most crucial to getting, the overall quality of the wetsuit. And then after that, they're thicker coats. So I have like two sprayers for each color. I have like a detail sprayer that does the first coat, and then I have the larger sprayer that does the following coats.
Tearle, I got you up big there. Can you go through your collection a little bit? I don't want to take you off the wetsuit thing here, but while I got you up, I know you're a big time collector of the vintage stuff. Can you point out some of your?
Sure. So I collect 64 to 74. I had to draw a line. As most of you know, that's a ridiculous thing to ever claim. Because I started around the time that the Hall of Fame stuff was coming out. That's how I got back into it. I was born in 64, so I had Joes as a kid. My dad worked for the space program, so I got a lot of astronauts growing up. There's nothing wrong with that. But
no.
Yeah, my dad actually worked on Apollo. He worked on the Saturn V rocket when we lived in Seattle when I was really young, and actually before I was born. And then we moved to Cocoa Beach, Florida. He worked on Apollo 9, 10, 11, 12. So I actually saw, when I was 5 years old, I saw Apollo 11 go off from my backyard. And because he worked,
freaking awesome.
I got to go to the parade, and I got to meet. So I met Buzz Aldrin twice. I met him as a little kid. I met him at the 99 show. He was much nicer when I was a little kid than when he was at the 99 show. So anyway, so I kind of went backwards. We were talking about this before we were broadcasting. The Hall of Fame stuff came out. The real crappy figures, but at the same time, it was a blast because they were in stores. They were using the razor blade marketing that they did with the originals. So there were uniform sets and accessory sets and vehicles and all that stuff. I mean, it was a great time to collect. I wish the figures were like cooler, but then went into the classic collection. But very soon after I started collecting again, I didn't really know what I was doing. I knew what I had as a kid, and I knew what I wanted as a kid that some of my buddies had. So I started up again, And, I kind of started from the beginning and did, 64, 65, 66. If I had to go back and do it again, I would have started with 67, 68, 69. So the case over here is I have everything from 64 to 74, except the Canadian Mountie gift box set, which I make the box.
I still want to buy it from you.
I just have an issue with paying $500 for a brown first aid pouch.
Yeah.
But that could change at some point. So this case over here is 64 to 66. And then over here, these are the talkers up here, starting over here, kind of going across. And then there's the tan airborne, the green airborne, striped short patrol. I got a couple deep freeze guys. One, it came, another controversy is the amber goggle thing. The guy I got this one from right here never had another Joe, and he certainly never had Ken. And he claims that the amber goggles that are on the guy came with the guy. I don't know. So I have both versions. There's my nurse right here. I'll tell you, the nurse has absolutely gone crazy. I paid, I think, $650 for my nurse. She came with the white bag and the green bag. She still had the cellophane over her hair.
Wow.
Which I thought was, if she drank too much and had to throw up, it took care of that with the cellophane hair. And then the air security guy here and my crash crew truck. This came in a mailer box, the Foot Locker. It didn't have any gear in it, but it had the sleeve. And then I have the 2 Sears sets here. I have another one coming. I have the green. So that just Mountie. So I have the regular Mountie right here and the State Trooper. So State Trooper I had to piece together and had to pay a little bit for the sunglasses and the handcuffs. I went to the 94 show on the Intrepid, and there was a guy who had boxes of the foreign soldier stuff in bags.
Yeah.
All the equipment.
Yeah.
He had state troopers, and I had no idea what the State Trooper was. But I noticed must have looked at 100 bags, and you can see the cat trying to get back in here.
Yep.
So every set that I looked at, the handcuffs were broken and the glasses were apart or broken. So this one's intact. It has all this stuff intact, the handcuffs and everything. So, and then behind me here is the 69 stuff. Let me go this way. So I have quite a bit of box stuff. Like my Desert Patrol Jeep, I have the box. I have the box for the crash crew truck. My figures are boxed, not the foreign guys, but my talkers and the first issue guys. But I have all the 69 stuff in their original boxes. Wow. And that took a little bit to get that. The last box I needed was the Perilous Rescue. And it took about 4 years to get just the box.
Wow.
And then over here is the Adventure Team stuff from 70 to 74. I don't have a lot of, even though I have 74 stuff, I don't have a lot of Kung Fu grip guys because the hands are kind of a problem. But I have a few. And actually down in the corner is the yellow Hidden Missile. That's an original. And it's still yellow. There's no black veins or, black spots on it. There's a couple semi-crispy spots around the wrist, but it still displays nice.
Do you have saddle soap on that one?
No.
No?
No. I'll just make one.
Yeah.
That's
yeah, right. I haven't made any for myself. So, that's probably not going to happen.
Are you saying some of those are the holy grails you're still looking for, or is there a different holy grail that?
Probably the holy grail would be. I think the only thing left would be the Mountie gift set.
Yeah, the Mountie gift set. Yeah.
I mean, I was talking with I don't know if you guys know Cruz Flores.
Yep. Yeah, I know Cruz pretty well.
Pastor out west, he bought one of those. There was a Green Beret Sears set, and a Ski Patrol Sears set. So Dwayne Smalls, who was in Canada, who was like a wealth of knowledge. He probably should make a book, but he sold a lot of his stuff. But he has like original prototype uniforms and all kinds of stuff. But he has he had the Green Beret gift set. It comes in the same kind of box as the Forward Observer, but there's no litho. It's just got G.I. Joe Action Soldier, and it says gift set on the side, and it has a number. It looks like a 4-year-old wrote with a Sharpie. And there was I've only seen 2 of those. One was Dwayne's, and now it's Cruz's, and then Rick Pell, I think, was the other guy who had it. And I think he's selling a lot of his stuff because of medical issues, if I'm correct. But they want like crazy. They claim that they'll sell for like $10,000-$11,000, and I just
Jesus.
I don't see it.
I thought the nurse was
Nah.
expensive, but man,
That's not happening.
But there's also a Ski Patrol set. It's the same as the Green Beret box in terms of how it looks, but it looks like they had the 4-year-old write the number on the sticker. I'm like, I'm just not, maybe someday if I come across a Mountie set and I'm absolutely like, there's nothing else for me to buy, which I don't think is ever going to happen. I mean, what I collect now is all the custom stuff that was coming out, Paul Ivy and Tripwire Toys, Eva Thompson, who did some of the early conventions in Texas, Faith Wagner, Susan Manos, Jim Marionetti, who is down in Atlanta, did the whole Aces line, which were amazing. He did the B-17 gunner and the pilot, the Memphis Belle, for the club. That's the stuff I've been trying to find because, back when it came out, it's like, I can't pay $200+ for a uniform when I need the Ski Patrol guy, So I'm kind of going back. And the good news is that I'm finding a lot of that stuff, for significantly less than it sold for initially. I just bought I don't know where it is. I got to get information on it. It's not the Tripwire Toys State Trooper. I found him in Kentucky. Paul Ivy did a great State Trooper. And it was like, I've been in this guy's, I try not to walk around much at the shows because I'm there to sell, but I can't help myself. Sure. So I went to this guy's booth like 3 times. I looked at his stuff, and then I look in the corner the last time, and his wife was there. And I go, is that a Tripwire Toys State Trooper? And she goes, yeah. So I go, oh, how much is it? And she could have quoted just about anything reasonable. And I've been like, okay. And she goes, well, it's $150, but I'll give it to you for $125. And I'm like, done, But there was an auction over the weekend. I bought it's a convent. They claimed it was a club/convention State Trooper, and it has light blue epaulets on the shoulders. Someone cast the handcuffs. They look great, just like the originals. The sunglasses are great, and it's a remade helmet. I'm not sure where it came from, but that obscure stuff is the stuff that I've been collecting lately, and I probably should slow down that.
So no other line of collection. You just stick to the 12-inch.
Yeah. I mean, when I first started collecting, if it said G.I. Joe on it, I bought it. So I mean, I had all the 3 3/4-inch guys with the accessories, and I had 2 of the aircraft carriers. I regret selling both of those. I would love to have an aircraft carrier. I'd love to have the aircraft carrier that the dude had in Atlanta.
That was amazing.
Oh, I know that was cool. I saw the pictures. Yeah,
guy had urinals. I mean, urinals.
Yeah.
Cool. Talk about being a stickler for detail.
And he made everything out of 3D. He 3D printed everything, Jim. Everything, every edition. It was amazing.
Wow.
He wrote a book, didn't he? He wrote a book on it.
Yeah, and it was fairly cheap too, and it showed all the details of how he went through step by step to put that whole lower level on, 2 levels. And the top, I thought I was most impressed with the top because it had like that Rhino bed liner, flight deck, and I thought that was really cool.
Oh wow, okay.
Well, I remember being at a show back when the Hasbro guys were still showing up, and I went to one of the panels, and they were talking about, people were asking like, why not you're re-releasing 3 3/4-inch stuff? Why don't you make another, aircraft carrier? And the guy says, well, if we released the aircraft carrier today, it would probably cost about $500. And everybody in the room is like, so?
Yeah.
Put it out. You know,
spending
Take my
$200 on
money.
one figure now, you know. So
I'd buy 2 of them if they put them out for $500.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
but you know, it's so I sold all that stuff off the 3 3/4 and stuff, and you know, like every other thing that I've sold, you know, I've had doubles of things. They were talking about the trenches, World War I Doughboy the other day. I had 2 of them, and I sold one of them. I mean, I always regret it afterwards, you know. But you know, there's, you know, in the beginning, you know, it was like you found it and you kind of paid what you had to pay for it because you didn't. There was some irrational thought that this is the only one, you know. So,
Yeah.
you know, there's probably items that, you know, the prices are crazy again too, you know, which is good in some ways. You know, there's new collectors of vintage GI Joes, which is great because it keeps it alive. You know, I saw something on Facebook today about, you know, are they going to do anything for the 60th? I seriously doubt it.
Yeah.
It's
Angelo and I are.
forgotten us.
Yeah, it's going to be us, you know, that do the stuff for the 60th. I already have in mind what I'm going to do. So
The fans are making the best stuff, though, right? Isn't that what the Retro Blasting always says? The fans are making the best stuff.
yeah,
It's not
well, you
Hasbro.
know,
It's not
like
Hasbro.
well, in Atlanta, I did a remake, my take on the Jaws of Death set. You know, so I tried to think of, okay, if it were made today, you know, with technology and things like that, how would you make it? You know, so the clam is about 7.5 inches. It's resin cast, 7.5 by 6.5 by 5.5. So it's a big clam. You open it up, there's a screen inside, a media player, touch screen, and my son, who's a graphics guy, through AI, took the voice from the toy, Talking Commander, and through AI recreated the voice. And he comes on and he talks. His facial expressions, everything, gives you the mission overview, then the whole dossier with the bad guys, and then the third one is the dossier of all the equipment. You know, so that's how I try and think. Think of the sets like a modern version. You know, I mean, I am a vintage collector. You know, I'm probably not as militant about people making repro things as maybe some of the more purist brothers and sisters in our hobby. But, you know, you have to have some sanctity in collecting vintage stuff. So I think the way around that is to make, you know, a newer version. If they made it today, you know, how would they do it? You know, so, and I'm always thinking, I'm 5 projects ahead in my head. It's like Angelo's saying, you know, you see something and you're always thinking of something, you know, it's hard, you know, when you're at work, especially, you know, and you have kids that you're responsible for, you know, you're thinking of Joe's and it's like, I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said. I was, you know, but you know, stuff's going to be happening for the 60th. I don't think we have to rely on Hasbro.
No.
Yeah.
We got like 6 minutes left in the show, guys. I know this is went by fast, but any last questions for him, or you want me to ask my one that I always ask?
All right, ask your one.
Ask your one.
So we don't, you know, take up your time.
What was your favorite toy as a kid growing up?
Other than G.I. Joe?
Well, it can be G.I. Joe. Was there one particular G.I. Joe, or was it just?
So my mom tells the story that the space capsule came out when I was 2. And when I was 2, I asked for it. I didn't really talk a whole lot because I was 2, but I asked for the astronaut capsule specifically. Unfortunately, I didn't get the Sears version, but so Joe is definitely my favorite toy. But I recently some Matt Mason stuff because I had Matt Mason stuff too. So I was at Joe Lana and I'm set up and it was the end of the show. There was another vendor across from me and came over. He was looking at some kind of, nothing special vintage stuff that I had left. It was like a green beret and a gummy head and a few other things. And he's like, what would you blow these out to me for? And I'm like, $700. It was like 4 figures. So he goes, oh, that's a good price. So he goes back to his booth and he comes back and he goes, how about I do the Scorpio and Jeff Long and 400 cash? And I'm like, how about I just how about I just carry these over to your table right now, brother? I mean, this right here is $700.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh man.
You know, so
Wow.
I'm like, did I hear you correctly? You know, like, you betcha. You know, so I like the Matt Mason stuff, but I have no room for like the space station and all that, so
Yeah.
that's not gonna happen. Just one cool thing. So I don't know how many of you have the Masterpiece edition.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if you go to the page, you know the 2 pages that have the kids. There's kids holding their GI Joes. When we were at the 95 convention, Don Levine came, and he said that they were bringing back the Masterpiece edition. So if you look in your book, that is me.
Oh, really? Wow. That's awesome.
In
Man.
my
Okay.
brand new MP. And you had to buy the carded set to get the helmet, which I thought was really messed up even as a kid. So I didn't have the
Razor
helmet.
blades.
Pretty cool. But there's the guy brings his Joe to the beaches of Normandy as an adult. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's a great, if you haven't had a chance to read the story, it's a great story. But I remember being at the 94 show and Don Levine came. And, you know, if you were to listen to the story he told in 94, Don Levine created G.I. Joe all by himself.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I read the book. I know it didn't happen that way.
Yeah. It's a great story. And if you think about it, you know, like, it's, you know, there wouldn't be action figures if it wasn't for G.I. Joe. But I had other toys, you know, Matt Mason, and I'd build the Aurora models and then shoot them up with my BB gun, which I really regret. And
Who didn't have a BB gun, right?
you know, that kind of yeah, you do the Wolfman, you wouldn't even paint him. You know, you just yeah, and then you price them now, and you're like, damn, that was
What
I
did they
really
do?
wish I hadn't done that.
but it's a toy, you know. None of my Joes survived from childhood. None of these are from my childhood.
I was gonna ask you anything. Nothing there.
No, they didn't make it. Casualties.
I got all mine.
Casualties and garage sales.
It was war.
Mine all stayed in my parents' attic, and then they all came here. Yeah, all
Yep,
my
same here.
I just got everything.
It's definitely. I mean, certainly I'm biased, but you know, it's definitely the greatest toy ever made.
Absolutely. Hands
think-
down.
Agreed.
You know,
Yeah.
the depth and the impact on, you know, kids. I had some pretty tough times as a kid, you know, and Saturday mornings for me, it was like alone time playing with the Joes, watching Johnny Quest. You know, It's like, you know, eating Quisp cereal.
I remember that one. Shit.
Quisp cereal on Amazon for $10 a box.
Oh my God.
You know, it wasn't that good, you know. But, you know, you think about the impact, and, you know, I think that's what drives, you know, the makers. You know, it's like, you know, I wouldn't want to work for Hasbro. It's a cutthroat job. It's worse than being a drug rep. But I remember going to the shows. They're putting, you know, they got kids right out of college selling Joes. You know, when they started making the movies and all this stuff, they didn't know anything about G.I. Joe. They were just working for Hasbro. You know, so those of us that kind of give back to the hobby and create, you know, it's kind of like, you know, recreating that, you know, kind of magic that you had as a kid getting G.I. Joe.
Yeah,
you know, when
sure.
you think of an idea and you're like, dude, that is going to be badass. If I'm able to do it, that's going to be badass. You know, I mean, that's a great feeling, you know, when you see the stuff that you guys are doing with like reflocking heads, you know, it's like, you know, I know some adults that could probably use that service. You know? But it's, you know, it's all part of, you know, it's all part of the whole picture of the hobby, you know, and I hope that, you know, more new collectors come along, and I hope, you know, there's some silliness that goes on with some of the pages and people arguing about this and that and ripping people off. I mean, I hope that stuff stops. That's just ridiculous. But it's a great hobby. It's a creative hobby. And I know, you know, I was a therapist for 27 years, you know, and, you know, you say what you want about Freud, but Freud was correct in the fact that he said creative play creates creative coping. kids don't play with. I mean, a lot of the kids, I deal with, kids that have significant mental health problems in the school I work at. They don't play with toys. They play Grand Theft Auto all day. The closest thing to any creativity is Minecraft, which it reminds me of the Atari system. It's all pixelated and stuff. And I'm like, oh, it's pretty nostalgic. But, they don't play with toys, so it's like, you can see it in their inability to cope with the stuff that's going on in their lives, Sure. So the more collectors that come along, I see Sergeant Van, his son, Eagle Scout, Into the Joes. I'm like, man, that's just, that's awesome. We need more, we need more of Sergeant Van's kid coming up,
Well, we just went over an hour there, sir. So, Jim Egner, you're off the hook. No game tonight, but I get you next
no
week, brother.
game. Wait,
man.
What was the topic?
The topic tonight was pop culture from the 80s.
How many
I mean,
questions you got?
I only have 15 questions. We were supposed to have 5 guys, and they were each going to get 3. So Sergeant Van couldn't join us tonight. So I can go through it, but Tearle said something like it's a school night and he's got to get to bed. So I don't know.
No, not me. I
You
got to watch.
You want to keep going? Ask some questions. I'll go have some fun with that.
All right, we'll see. We still got about 20 people in the chat room, man. They've been hanging on tight, man.
Sure,
So.
and I still got half a beer. Let's do it.
Do your trivia, and then I got to go to
Half
bed.
a beer. I'll get through these.
Gotta go.
Jim Egner, this one's the easiest one, and it's for you, brother. All right, we're just gonna, I'm gonna go right around my little hexagon here. In the 80s, if you turned on the television and saw the characters 2D Blair and Natalie, what show would you be watching?
If I can remember it.
Blair and Natalie.
Angelo, I know you know this one.
I know.
I'm all over this.
Has the word life in it. Has the word life in it, Jim.
Yeah.
That's
how you guys would blow through this.
Yeah, this is why I suck at this. I got nothing.
The fact
Angelo just gave you a hint. It's got the word life in it.
What's that? Andy got it. Facts of life.
Yeah.
Facts of life.
Yep.
Yeah.
No. The hint didn't even help. So.
Tearle, this one's for you. What 80s fashion trend was inspired by the movie Flashdance?
Oh,
I know that one.
Leg warmers, baby.
Leg warmers, baby. Yes, sir.
And the headband.
Yeah.
And the headband and the leg warmer.
What's a leg
Angelo,
warmer without a headband?
What men's hairstyle was trendy in the 80s? You had one.
Mullet.
I had one. You had one.
I had a spiked mullet, brother. I had spikes here and mullet in the back. Oh, baby.
Peter from the Skull Reviews. Facts of life. You are correct. Yes.
Business in the front, party in the back.
That's right.
I never had a mullet. I had long hair, but I did not have a mullet.
Medic Mike, you're up. What is the highest grossing movie of the 1980s?
God. Rambo.
No, I didn't know this one.
Damn, I don't know it either.
The E.T.?
They were in
It
Frozen.
was E.T. Who said that?
I did.
Tearle.
I think I have autism when it comes to this.
Back to you, Jim. Who played the iconic character JR on the TV show Dallas?
Guy from I Dream of Jeannie, Larry Hagman.
Larry Hagman is the answer.
Good
you got
job.
it, yes, sir. During the 80s, everyone wanted a pair of Ray-Ban glasses. What film helped to start that trend, Tearle?
I'd say there might be 2. Risky Business and
or
Blues Brothers.
No.
I would have said Risky Business for sure.
The Terminator.
Top Gun, gentlemen. Top Gun.
Top Gun.
Oh, the 80s.
Wrong kind of Ray-Bans. Okay. I was thinking the Wayfarers.
Yeah, I was too.
The Wayfarers would have been Risky Business and the Blues Brothers. The Aviators, definitely.
Aviator type,
yeah.
Angelo, you're up.
Okay.
The first cellular phone system became available in America in 1983. How much did the phone weigh?
3 pounds. No, it weighed about 8 ounces.
It was 2 pounds. 2
2
pounds.
pounds. Holy smack.
There was this one.
It was a
It was the brick. Remember the brick?
The brick.
Mike, you're up. What is Nike's famous slogan that was coined in 1988?
Come on, I wear Skechers. Jeez. Just do it.
Just do it. You got
Just
it, man.
do it. Good job, Mike.
Were you Googling that on the side or what? What are you doing?
My hands are clean.
Jim Egner, back to you. What popular
That's amazing.
doll experienced its peak in popularity between 1983 and 1986? Doll, not action figure.
Cabbage Patch.
Cabbage Patch is the answer. Tearle.
Whoa.
In 1983, the first camcorder was released by what company?
Oh. Sony?
Sony is correct. You are
Wow.
good.
Good.
You're good at this, sir. Angelo, who was the villain in the 1985 video game Super Mario Brothers? We're looking for the villain.
The villain.
The name of the villain.
Was it?
I did not know
the
this
green
one.
turtle? Was it the green turtle
I
guy?
know
with
this
Yeah, and he's got a
one.
name.
Bowser?
Oh,
Bowser is
There
the
you
answer.
go. That's him.
Bowser.
Wow. Aaron, it was not Kodak. It was Sony. Action Joe Figs got that one. Who we up to? Mike, which
Yep.
80s horror film feature a child actor who didn't know he was acting in a horror film? We're looking for the
Damn.
name of the film.
Oh, I think I know.
Okay, let's see. I have no clue.
The Omen.
It was not The Omen.
I would have said Poltergeist.
Shining.
The Exorcist.
It was The Shining. Terrible. You
The Shining.
again, man.
Really?
It was The
You mean
Shining.
that kid?
Yes,
The
it
kid
was.
didn't know he was in a
I
horror movie.
saw a thing on The Shining. And Shelley Duvall, it messed her up.
Oh,
Oh,
yes.
yeah. Yep. Yep. What year did the fall of the Berlin Wall occur? Jim, I think that's you, right?
Was it 1989?
89 is the answer. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Two more questions. Which NFL team won the most Super Bowl championships in the 80s? Tearle.
I would say the Cowboys.
Negative.
I'm going with San Fran.
San Francisco is the answer. Yes, sir.
Uh,
Last question up for grabs. Whoever wants it. What taffy-like fruit candy featured a balloon on the wrapper, which came out in
Blow Pop.
1985?
Blow Pops.
No.
Was it said it was a taffy?
85 Starburst.
No. It's still
A
out today,
balloon?
actually. Still out today.
Oh, is it? Wait a minute.
Hubba Bubba?
Now or
That's
later.
bubble gum,
Gum.
dude.
Was it now-
You don't remember
balloon.
the commercials where the kid's head would turn into a balloon? And no?
I vaguely remember the commercial, but not the product.
Maybe it was just in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Airheads, man. Airheads.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's not taffy-like.
I don't know. That's what it said. It said taffy-like fruit candy.
That doesn't sound right at all.
Nope. I remember those things. They weren't taffy.
Hard as a rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
maybe the store near you, Jim.
We had a very good show tonight. We learned a lot about making our own latex wetsuits. I guess everybody's going to start doing that next week, right?
Good luck with that.
He makes it sound so easy, right?
Yeah, I got to go shopping first.
Yeah, nope.
Hey, Tearle, I'm going to put you up big here, and this is your last hoorah here. If you wanted to talk about Wetsuit Man or website or anything you're selling or where to find you.
Well, actually, yeah, wetsuitman.com is the website. I'm doing my first toy show in collaboration with my buddy Angelo and another buddy Art, and we get some guys coming from Massachusetts. It's I have no idea what to expect, to be honest with you. I think worst case scenario is I'm throwing an expensive party. You know, we're all just hanging out buying stuff. Worst case scenario, which is still pretty good, but trying to gear it towards kids. You know, kids under 12 get in free. You know, $5 for adults. You know, just want to get a toy show happening around here. Angela and I have talked about kind of putting a club together around here regionally and maybe doing a Joe show at some point. Who knows? I think, the sky's the limit. Starting off, I just don't, I put it all over social media and
That's Syracuse, isn't it?
it's Saratoga.
Saratoga. Okay.
Yeah. And actually the next two figures I'm putting out, I was going to do it for the show, but I hemorrhaged so much money this summer that I didn't get a chance. I'm doing a New York regimental revolutionary guy, and I'm doing an Order of the Foot, 56th Order of the Foot Brit. And I just got the artwork in. I had Larry Selman do the art.
Oh, wow. Very
So it's
cool.
going to be cool. It's going to come with doesn't come with a full figure, but it's going to come with a head sculpt that you can put on whatever figure you want. The Brit is going to be foreign head Joe with the long hair ponytail, and the New York guy will be a regular Joe.
Right on.
It's gonna be
Next.
awesome.
Yeah. So
Hey, brother. Glad to finally get you on the show. Hopefully, you
Yeah.
can come back and visit us again sometime.
anytime, man, anytime is a blast.
You are now a part of the Axis of Awesome, whether you want to be or not. You may,
You'll regret it.
you might. You could take some time to think about it. You don't have to commit right now. Just think about
Listen,
it.
I'll be part of the Axis of Awesome, and I will be in school tomorrow, even though they will have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. I'm telling you.
Go watch my live stream, kids.
As they're telling me, to go F myself, I'm going to be like, I'm part of the Access of Awesome. Dude.
Yeah,
You can't say that to me.
I got a whole gang of people that will teleconference you to death.
All right, guys. You guys have a safe week, and don't forget our show next week. Have some guy from Texas by the last name of
Greg something. Ennis.
Greg Brown, something like that. I don't know. We'll see. So we'll see you guys. Have a good